everybody, it's Chris Seeds, known online as Wootini, here with another gay gamer video podcast. So the recent screening of Resident Evil, the final chapter, it got me thinking about video game movies. The good, the bad, the ugly. And I just want to talk about some of my favorites. Because the Resident Evil series, for all its faults, I find thoroughly entertaining. They have their weak points here and there, but overall, I think they're really good. My favorite one, I think, is Resident Evil Prison. The one in the prison. See, the problem is that with the Resident Evil movies, they all have these ridiculous subtitles, like Aftermath and, not Execution, Extinction, Apocalypse, I don't know. They're just names that have nothing to do with anything. So basically, I just called them Resident Evil, Resident Evil City, Resident Evil Desert, Resident Evil Prison Break, and Resident Evil Biodome. And then Resident Evil, the final chapter, which is the only one that has a subtitle that actually means something to the film. So the prison one is my favorite, I think, because I just like the premise. It's like self-contained, they gotta get out of there, they gotta escape. But also I think because it was the first one that was in 3D, and I love 3D, as I've said before. So the 3D in that was really good, and it has some really great action sequences, especially that shower scene with the big guy. The 3D is also exceptional in that scene too. So the whole thing, thumbs up. But I also really enjoy the second one and the fifth one, because those were the ones that really embraced the games. You know, the second one gave you Jill Valentine. Claire came in the third one. But then Claire was just like, whatever, it was just the name. But in the second movie, they were like, here's Jill Valentine, and you know what? She's wearing her ridiculous hooker outfit. And the fifth one was like, here's Leon Kennedy, here's Barry Burton, and here's Ada Wong, and you know what? She's wearing her ridiculous evening gown. Which I thought was hilarious. I also appreciated that in the second movie, they made a point, like if you watch the second movie, when they first introduced the Jill Valentine character, she's very clearly coming home from like a night out, and she's taking off her high-heeled shoes, but then she sees the news and the zombie outbreak, and she like throws on her boots and grabs her weapons and heads out the door to go to work. Which is, I think, their way of saying, that's why she's dressed like she was going to the club. Because she was. And then but then in the fifth one, they were just like, you know, we don't even care anymore. Here's Ada Wong, she's wearing that sexy evening gown thing. Done. We're not even going to bother to explain it, just enjoy. But that, you know, I liked the ones that sort of embraced the ridiculousness of the games. But that got me thinking about, you know, I was thinking about, like, other game movies that I've enjoyed, like the Tomb Raider movies. Those two movies, I think, are good. I think I like the first one better than the second one, but I still like the second one, too. Angelina Jolie made a fine Lara Croft. You know, I mean, obviously you can nitpick and complain, but overall, I found them entertaining. Also, I think the reason the first one's better than the second one is in the second one, the hunky guy is Gerard Butler, but in the first one, it's Daniel Craig. But I liked the original Tomb Raider games, and I liked the original Tomb Raider movies. But I loved the Tomb Raider reboot games, so I'm really hoping that I will love the Tomb Raider reboot movie. I know they're shooting it, and I'm kind of excited for it. So hopefully it'll be good. And then the other video game movie that I completely loved was Mortal Kombat. Wait, let me just tell you a quick story about Mortal, because I was surprised to find out that I don't own Mortal Kombat on DVD. My husband's like, no, we don't have that on DVD. You got it on Laserdisc. And I was like, no, I have a DVD. I remember buying the DVD. And he's like, no, you don't have it. So I was like, we need to have Mortal Kombat in this house. Because it's really fun. I want to say it's really good, but it's not necessarily good, but it's super entertaining and fun. But I want to tell a story of when I first saw Mortal Kombat, because it's hilarious, because my friend Chuck was super into Mortal Kombat for some reason, and he was so excited for this movie that he was dying inside, and he was running around the office being all like, let's all go to work. After work, we'll go to the movies and we'll see Mortal Kombat, it'll be awesome. And he was trying to get people to come along and build up a group to go see Mortal Kombat after work. And I was like, Chuck, you know there's a midnight screening the night before. You could see it at midnight. Like, it's even sooner. And he was like, yeah, no, but, you know, people aren't going to want to go to midnight screening, so it's fine. I don't mind waiting. I want to see it with everybody else. So I'm like, okay, fine. And then I basically just decided that evening, I was like, you know what? Because I didn't care. I was like, it's probably not going to be very good, whatever. I'm not that big of a fan of the games. I've played them, but they're, you know, whatever. I'm not a big fighting game fan, so who cares? So I decided I was going to go to that midnight screening so that I could come to work the next day, and all day, while Chuck was so excited to see his movie, I could taunt him with the knowledge that I'd already seen it, and tell him how bad it was. I obviously would not spoil things, because I'm not a complete asshole. But I was planning on taunting him all afternoon. So I went to this midnight screening, by myself, and I went in there, packed crowd. Titles come up, people are screaming, freaking out, loving it. And, like, every time a character was introduced, audience flips out. When he says, you know, finish him, or fatality, or there's any kind of reference to the games, freaking out and cheering. And I kind of got caught up in the momentum of the crowd, and thoroughly enjoyed the film. So all I could do was taunt him with the fact that I'd seen it, and that I really, really liked it. And that wasn't as much fun as being able to taunt him with how bad it was. And you want to talk bad, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the sequel, was just... no, thank you. I saw it once, and you don't need to see it again. It was actually on TV the other night, and I was flipping by, and I watched like maybe 5 minutes of it, and I'm just like, I should see if this is as bad as I remember it. And then I was like, no, because I'm pretty sure it is. I have better things to do with my time. But thinking about Mortal Kombat made me realize I had never seen Street Fighter. Now, I'd seen Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, which was terrible. It's the one with Lana Lang from Smallville. And I did not enjoy that at all. It was kind of awful. Just like they made a Tekken movie, which was not good. And I wondered if in like 10 years we could look back on something like the Tekken movie and the nostalgia will color it and make it awesome and fun and campy or whatever. But I don't think so, because it's one of those movies that sometimes they make these movies and you're just like, no, that was not good. Because they need to be like, you know, super campy fun, or like just actual good, but they're not actual good usually, they're just campy fun. Like the Resident Evils or the Tomb Raiders or the Mortal Kombat, which was the first one. Or, as I found out, the Street Fighter movie. Because I felt like I should have seen Street Fighter because it's got Kylie Minogue in it. And I love Kylie Minogue. And I'm like, Kylie Minogue is playing Cammy. Why am I not watching this movie? So, it's not streaming anywhere, so I had to rent the disc from Netflix. And it was a Blu-ray, which I was excited. I was like, ooh, a Blu-ray. So like I turned on my stereo receiver, I turned on everything, put in my PlayStation. The PlayStation 4 would not read the disc. I was like, what the F? It was perfectly clean, would not read the disc. I was like, what the F? So I go to put it in my Xbox One, which is not hooked up to the surround sound, but I'm like, whatever, it's fine. And the Xbox One would read the disc, and it played the Blu-ray, but for whatever reason, I've never watched Blu-rays on my Xbox before, so I don't really know how good it is at that. I usually watch them on my PS4 because you just put it in and it plays. Xbox, you had to download an app so that you could watch a Blu-ray, which I'm like, what? But whatever. Like, sometimes the screen would be perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden it would just go all pixely, like a low-res video, and I was just like, why are you doing this? And I was like, maybe it'll just, like, catch up and it'll buffer and it'll be fine. But I was like, I don't want to risk that. So I ended up watching it in the bedroom on the bedroom TV because that's where the PS3 is hooked up now, so I was able to watch it. The PS3 read it just perfectly fine. I don't know what's wrong with PS4, but whatever. And so I finally watched it, and at the end credits of the movie, I pulled out my phone, and I immediately went to Amazon, and I ordered myself the Mortal Kombat Blu-ray and the Street Fighter Blu-ray so that I could have them both. Because Street Fighter was thoroughly entertaining. But in that kind of cheesy bad movie way. Because you have to be cheesy bad. You can't just be boring bad, like the Tekken movie or whatever, you know? Like, some of them are just bad. Whereas the Street Fighter movie, it's so ridiculous, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is just so bad in it, and, like, everyone is bad at it. Ming-Na, I think, she tried her best. But I loved how at the end they, like, jumped through hoops to get everybody into, like, kind of their costumes from the game for the big grand finale and everything. But, like, it's not a good movie. But it's a bad movie in a super entertaining way. So I made sure to buy it so that I could have that. Also they're super cheap, so whatever. It's not like I spent a lot of money on them. And thankfully when I got the Blu-ray, the first thing I did was put it in my PS4, and it reads it fine, so must have been something wrong with that particular disc, so. But that's why I thought, well, maybe someday we could look back at, like, the Tekken movie or something and think, oh, this is quaint, and the special effects are cheesy, and it's amusing. You know, because sometimes it just needs a little time for the nostalgia to color the cheesiness of the movie, and then it becomes a little bit better. But I don't know. Like, I haven't seen the Assassin's Creed movie that came out. I heard bad things about it, but then I also heard some people saying, no, it's fine. It's perfectly entertaining. There's nothing that wrong with it. It's just not great. But that's totally something I'll catch that on, like, HBO or Netflix or something, because, you know, I would like to see it. I enjoy the games, so, to a certain extent. So I would like to see it at some point. But I'm super excited about this Tomb Raider movie. I hope that they don't screw it up, and I hope that it's good. And if it's not good, like legit entertaining good, then maybe it'll be cheesy good. Because both of those work for me. The only bad movie is a boring movie. So, obviously I didn't mention all of the video game movies. I was just talking about my favorites. Let me know in the comments what your favorite video game movies are, and which ones maybe I should check out. And I will see you back here next week for another talk. Bye!